You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is, I don't know, let me flip a coin. I think Wednesday, the 7th day of September 2016. My, how time flies. All right. We're a little late getting off the ground again today. I did not perform a full exorcism on the machine, and tonight I will. I was busy yesterday afternoon with a webinar for the people on the Concierge Trade Alert trial, and I've used that excuse for about 3 different things that I didn't get done properly last night. So I've about wore that out, so that's probably the last time you'll hear it today, maybe. All right? Well, listen, I'm glad you're here. If you're brand new, welcome to your very first episode of CFRN Emini Futures Radio, or as it's known, the Emini Futures Cast. Now, those of you that are returning for the umpteenth time, welcome back. Glad to have you with us. Here's how we roll. I open up by giving you the numbers from around the world. all the cash markets, from Asia to Europe to even here in the U.S. I then throw one news headline at you, which I'm going to skip today, and then we go to Michael for a recap of everything that happened in the live trading room. We then come back for more news, for our good word for the day, and our guest host. Today's guest host is Jett. He is the author of the book, The Fruits of Graft. If you've not checked out Wayne's site in the past, do that. While I'm going over the numbers, it's classicalcapital.com. You'll see the book right on the front. Now, he poured 6 years of his life into over 500 pages, exposing the Federal Reserve for exactly what it is, the corrupt culture in which we've been raised in, and the doom and gloom that is only beginning if we don't get off our back end and do something about it. I know. Who wants to pay 25 bucks for that, right? Well, you could go grab the Kindle version. Rumor has it that's only $9.99. Now, today we're getting the new Apple iPhone. Isn't it today, or is that tomorrow? I thought it was today. Not only is it not going to have a phone jack or a earphone jack, but they're going to do away with Bluetooth. So what new magic sauce do they have that will power what are going to be called AirBuds? This is going to be interesting to find out. Bluetooth is an interesting low-power technology. It's become more and more popular over the years, but apparently Apple has something that they feel is even better. So if I am correct, and if the release or the introduction, the release follows the introduction, if that is today at 10 p.m., we will live blog any of that information that we find to be, something we just can't keep quiet about. Let's hit those numbers. Remember, these are the cash numbers and not the futures. We'll get into the futures market a little bit later. Now, the NASDAQ closed yesterday at an all-time record high. Who would have ever thought that could happen back in 2009? But true story, it has happened. Now, there's a little bit of red out there today. The Dow is down 49 points. The NASDAQ is down 6 points. S&P 500 is down 5. The Russell 2000 is the only green in the US of A, and that's up all of 1.5 points. So to say that the indices are quiet, stagnant, stale, still waiting for that event, and we don't even know what the event is. Now, the Apple event, see, that's news that you can count on, and the stock's gonna pop, and then it's gonna flop. Mark my word. But we'll talk about that in a moment. Let's get through the rest of the markets. If we go to our commodity basket, we'll find that crude oil is up 70 cents. Gold, on the other hand, is down $5.60. In Asia, the Nikkei is down 69 points. The Shanghai is up $1.69 and $1.69, 1.5 points. The Hang Seng is down 45 points. There's not a mover or shaker in the bunch. Europe, last but not least, land of the green. DAX is up 65 points. Now that's more than half of 1%. And yes, the Apple release is today. Or the announcement is today. Tim Cook will be out on stage the same way Steve Jobs used to do. He doesn't do it the way Steve did it quite. Doesn't have the same flair, the same panache, but he does an okay job. The FTSE is up 20 points. The CAC is up 27. That's over half of 1%. So of all the movers and shakers, they're both in the European markets. The DAX up over half of 1%. The CAC up over half of 1%. Other than that, it's red or barely green. And that does it. Those are the numbers. Some of the things we're going to be talking about today will be the Apple stock, how it'll pop and then drop. We'll talk about Wall Street's big question right now is why in God's name would Bill Ackman, after all the mistakes he's made of late, invest in Chipotle? I know some people love it, but give me Taco Bell any day over Chipotle. And Donald Trump has lifted his blacklist on reporters. He says, I figure they can't treat me any worse. So in about 40 minutes, we're going to find out exactly what this new iPhone 7 is all about. There's going to be a new watch as well. Now, I'm just going to tell you what this news is about, but man, has it got me ticked off. If it doesn't tick you off, you don't have a pulse. Goldman Sachs, ever heard of them? Most powerful banking firm on the world. Some say they control the world from far beneath the surface of the earth in some cave, with lead-lined walls. They have banned their employees. I don't even know if this is legal, but a memo went out officially banning any employee of Goldman Sachs from donating to the Donald Trump for President campaign. Let that sink in a minute. If you don't think Hillary Clinton has Wall Street bought, sold, wrapped up, tied in a box with a beautiful little bow on it, oh my goodness. But see, I know that because you're the smartest radio audience in talk radio, that you understand this. What I've got to do is somehow motivate you to tell those who don't know. Now, there used to be 3 Gs, God, Google, and Goldman Sachs. Then gold got thrown into the bunch. Then guns got thrown in. So we had about 5 Gs. But for a company to tell their employees, you cannot, we forbid you, we'll toss you out of your ear if you donate to Donald Trump. That's got to tell you something. Do I even have to tell you what that tells you? I don't think so. I think you can tell yourself that. Michael, if you're ready and want to come in and do the recap and all that good stuff and tell everybody what happened in the live trading room, I'll shut up for a few minutes and then I'll come back. We'll do our good word for the day. We'll hit a couple of headlines and we'll be ready for Wayne Jett when he pops in at the top of the hour, 1 p.m. Eastern. He is with us every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
Take it away, Mike.
Ready. I gotta send you a quick email here before I do this.
Yeah, I've never said no to a quickie, so send it on.
There you go. You might want to call these clowns.
Do you want me to call them clowns, or do you want me to...
Call them clowns and call them on the phone and call them clowns.
All right. Is it the missed call that you just sent?
No.
Is there any way you can help Jolene? I feel so sorry for her.
I sent her an email yesterday and I said, I don't know
I
what
think
more I can do.
somebody's going to have to talk to her on phone and walk her through the process. Maybe I could do it. I've just got so many mentoring sessions this afternoon. Have you forwarded that email?
I sent it to you right now.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and hit mute so you can get started, and when the email comes in, I will, I think my antivirus software milks every email that comes through. That's why it takes a little bit. Because I know when somebody sends something to you and I both, you always get it first.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, let me, now, you know what?
All right.
So
okay.
what do
I
you
get the screens.
think? What do you think that means?
They're screwed up. I would just.
All right, I'll call. I'll call.
I mean, look at the emails that just came in from them, and you know, there's about 6 of them that just came in from them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're giving us credit for 1.
Okay. All right, let me call.
1.5.
Let me call. Let me call.
All right.
All right.
All right. I'm going to hit start record. There we go. We're starting our recording. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 7th day of September, 2016. Today, well, let's start off with this since I got it up here. If you have not taken a free trial with us, just go to our homepage at CFRN.net. In the right-hand side where it says register for a free trial, put in your name, put in your email, click on register for a free trial. When you do that, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click the confirmation link, okay? If you don't click the confirmation link, you will not get the free trial. You got to do that. All right, now we have these other products here too that you should take a look at if you want to. The Emini Daily Double, you click right there, explains it all in here. 2 trades a day, 1 trade a day service. You get 2 to 8 different markets. Says it all right in there. And the Concierge Trade Alerts. To take a free trial with this, did we make that easy? Or are we still got to find those 2 words way down here somewhere? Yep, still got to find 2 words right here. Go here. That's where you take the free trial for that. Okay. All right, so those are the CFRN things. Now, oops, I didn't mean to make it all go away. Let's go here. No, not there. That's my inbox. Let's go here. All right. Today in the live trading room, we just barely made it green. Our last trade got us up to 7.5 bucks. We made 11 ticks in soybeans. We lost 8 in the euro. We lost 6 in crude. We lost 2 in gold. That got us up to $7.50 today. Though it did only take us 5 minutes in 1 trade to get to our goal for the day, at that point we were up $100 a contract. At that point we're up $100 a contract, and we took a total of 13 trades today. So on the month now we're at $903.75. That's over 4 trading days, averaging $225. If you had an $8 commission, your net profit would be $407. If you had a $5 commission, your net profit would be $593. So on the year now, we're up $41,748. That's over 168 trading days, averaging $248 per day. $248 per day. Okay. That is all of that. Now, we'll get into the trades. In gold today, 1, 2, 3, 4 trades. That's what we had. Yeah. Okay. So our first trade in gold was right here. We made 6 ticks profit on that one. And we missed a trade there, missed a trade there. Had a break even there and stopped out there to put us down to -2. And this was one of our last 2 trades in the live trading room. We made a break even on that one. During the break, there was a short trade right here. Okay. And that was it on the gold. On the ES, I believe we pointed out 1 trade. Did we get down to 77? Not yet. 77.50. Okay. The reason I asked that is because our DD said consider buying that, sell 2180 down to 2177. All right. We had one trade that we highlighted in the live trading room on the crude today, and it was right here, okay, at 2182. All right, and that was it for that. Now in the crude oil, let's see, in crude we had just a few trades. The first one, we made one tick. We missed one right here. It looks like we missed one over here too. The second one, we made another tick, so we're at +2. Did I miss anything in here? Not really. I took a long trade right here and stopped out pretty much to the tick, and then it started going up. And that was it on crude, so we're -6 on crude today. Let's see here, during the break, there was a long trade there and there and there. And that was pretty much it during the break. We're -6 on crude. Soybeans. Here, let me back it out a little so it's not so big in your face. There we go. On soybeans, our first trade was right here. We made 8 ticks profit. That's where we got our goal for the day. And I must have been thinking the cycle was going down too steep over here. We took a break-even trade there, and we got 3 ticks profit on this one right here. That's where we got back positive on the day. During the break, you know, I wouldn't take a trade right here because the cycle, at the close of this bar, the cycle was flat in the middle, so I wouldn't take that. Okay. The euro. Let's see, on the euro, we had a few trades there. First trade we took stopped us out. Second trade was break even. Third trade was break even. We missed this one right here, which was a nice trade. So we ended up -8 on the euro. During the break, there was a short trade there. Excuse me, I was just sneezing. And that was it. That was it today on the euro. Okay. So all right. So let me bring up my sheet again. Today, we were +11 on soybeans. I didn't write the date in there. 9, 7. We're +11 on soybeans, -8 on the euro. So +11 on soybeans is 137.50. -8 puts us down to 87.50. -6 here puts us down to 27.50. -2 there puts us down to 7.50. It took us 5 minutes and 1 trade to get to $100 a contract, and we took a total of 13 trades today. Okay, so on the month now we're up $903.75. That's over 4 trading days, averaging $225 per day, $225 per day. If you apply an $8 commission to every trade we've taken, you'd have a net profit of $407, and if you had a $5 commission, you'd have a net profit of $593. So on the year now, we are up $41,748, and that's over 168 trading days, averaging $248 per day. $248 per day. Okay. That is that. With that, I will stop the recording. And Dwayne, I don't know if you're off the phone yet, or if you're on hold, or if you're discussing it, but we can head back out to you if you're ready, and if not, just let me know, and I will keep going. If you have not taken the free trial with us, go here to the home page of CFRN.net. In the right-hand column where it says register for a free trial, put in your name, put in your email, click on register for a free trial. When you do that, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click the confirmation link, okay? And that's it. All right. So, I'm guessing that Dwayne is still on the phone because he had an important phone call to make based on an email that I sent to him. And I'll just go around drawing trend lines here where trades are setting up. There actually was a short trade right here off the BBC on crude. Okay. So I'll just pop that out here. Okay, and soybeans, I wouldn't take a long here because the cycle was flat in the middle, but I am short the crude oil. Okay. The euro's got a momentum short here. And on the crude oil, if we get 4 ticks profit, I will move my stop to break even. Okay, there's 3 ticks. Needs 1 more tick. 1 more tick, and there it was. There's 4 ticks. You see it tick down there to 4 ticks. That's what I'm looking at when I'm actually doing this. So I've got to get rid of my original stop. And let's see. And that's it. Okay. Somebody's on earth.
Okay, I just finished my phone call. Hello?
Okay.
Yeah, there was a
Yes.
a technical issue, and it was just reported to their engineers about 30 minutes ago, so they are working on it right now, fast and furious, to get it corrected. So at some point today, they'll get it straight, and then the two will match up.
Okay. All right. That is good.
I said, Jill, that's magic to my ears.
That is magic. All right. Well, I am
Or I
now...
meant music, not magic. That's music to my ears. I don't know. Can a man hear magic? I wonder how long Plato spent on that one. I don't think so. Music, yes. This morning we had a special treat during the live trading room. We had Deliverance delivered,
Yes,
and
we did.
Amazing Grace. These are live performances. We're the only live trading room in America that has live entertainment. Pretty proud of that. Okay, so you are in contact with Katrina?
I haven't been, but I just got the latest email from Dan.
Okay, but did you get the one that just came in? Oh, no,
Yeah.
That's you to me, I guess.
That's all of us.
You're the only one that starts out emails with,
No, that wasn't me. That was not me.
That wasn't you?
That was not me. That was Dan.
Oh, okay.
Dan was the point man on this, and now
he was under the impression Katrina was working with you to get this complete. Unfortunately, she's out of the office today and will be back tomorrow. We all, including Dennis, will be on board to get you live. Well, that makes me feel a little better.
Yes.
Now,
yes, because this ball has been in the air for 2 months.
The email that came in from Johan L., will you take care of that?
Yeah, sure. Yep.
And then there's another one under that.
Yeah, I'll take care of the emails right now.
All right, buddy. Well, that's pretty awesome. And I'll call Jolene this afternoon and see if I can't walk her through getting that thing to work. It's a little finicky. Now, I think your side of that deal triggered. Did it make it to the target?
It made it within 2 ticks of it. Well, it made it It made it for 2 points, and I sent out an alert to lock in 2 points.
Okay.
But it didn't make it to the 3-point level. It made it within 2 ticks.
That's okay. As long as people make $100 a day, and they follow the 24/20 blueprint, and if you make $100, 20 days in a row, that's $2,000. But you got to also pay your commissions. So depends on how many trades it takes you to make your $100. So somewhere between probably 30 and 40 days, you increase your account balance by $2,000, and then you get to add a second contract, which takes you from earning $100 a day to $200 a day. Now, that's only $1,000 a week. That's only $50,000 a year. That's only the average household income for a 2-income family in America today. 2 contracts, $100 a day. Now, our goal is to see you hit 4 contracts, earn your way to 4 contracts inside of 6 months. Because that really kind of changes the dynamics, because that puts you at a gross of $400 a day, a gross of $2,000 a week before your commissions. Now, if you're catching that $100 in a couple trades a day, then you get to keep the lion's share of that earnings. If, on the other hand, it's taking you 10 trades a day to make the daily goal of $100, well, then it's going to, take a little bit longer, but that's okay. The 24/20 blueprint was designed for the trader who needs 10 trades a day to make $100, okay? Now, that might be you in the very beginning, but as time passes and you're better able to follow the very simple rules that we have, whether you're trading the style that we trade in the live trading room, whether you're trading the style that I taught in the Concierge Trade Alert webinar yesterday afternoon. Now, Michael, that I copied you on that email I sent out, correct?
I don't know. I'm looking at something else right now.
All right, because that is an unlisted webinar. It's not posted for the public.
Yeah,
but it is a webinar that we will be able to send out to anyone who signs up for the Concierge Trade Alert trial. Not that I'm not willing to do a webinar a week, but in fact, you do your webinar Tuesdays. Maybe I only did Tuesday this week because of the holiday. I might do webinar Monday, or I might do webinar Wednesday, I'll do it at like 5 in the afternoon, and it'll be on a different day than your day, so they don't conflict with each other. Although I think that video, I think it encapsulated everything a person needs to know. There were some great questions asked, and we'll see. If it needs to be repeated, I'll be happy to repeat it. What I really want to see is people get on board with the trial, watch that video that teaches you how to trade the Concierge Trade Alerts, and then the second you sign up as a Concierge Trade Alert client, you and I will be spending 45 minutes initially in a private mentoring session, and then we'll do about 1 session a week for the first month, and then probably 1 session every 2 weeks, and then it'll probably be 1 session a month, and then pretty soon you'll go, Dwayne, who? Oh, that guy. Oh, he just sends me some numbers at night. I'm the magic man. That's how I want to hear you talk. But don't get too full of yourself. Scripture's really pretty blunt. It says, do not think too highly of yourself. Pride goeth before a fall. God loves a humble man. Okay? Now, these are proverbs, and I really think traders need to take them to heart, because I've seen many traders blow up get real big real quick, and then literally blow up and blow out. And if you don't think the market can take $50,000 from you in one day, if you start playing footloose and fancy free, you're sadly mistaken. It can take that and a whole lot more. Which brings up another point. It cannot take what you don't have in your account. Do not keep in your trading account more money than you need to trade the level you're currently at. I realize there are minimum amounts that you have to maintain to keep the account open so that you have unlimited access to the simulator. Then on top of that, you've got to have the money necessary to trade the number of contracts that you're at. But in the case of a flash crash, and I'm telling you, I smell one coming, because this low volatility thing has been going on for so long that when it snaps, it may snap big time. There could potentially be a flash crash involved in that. And what that means is, for instance, the Dow could drop 500 points in 5 minutes and then recover every bit of it. But in the meantime, everybody that's in a Dow trade gets their entire account, everything that's in your trading account, wiped out. Just boom. So, whatever money you have set aside for trading, keep it in an account that is FDIC insured. Open your account with, my recommendation is a $5,000 balance. If you follow our rules, if you follow the principle of the 2420 blueprint, if the blueprint tells you to go back to SIM, and you actually go back to SIM and allow us to mentor you, help you get your confidence back before you step back out, you should only have to send one wire to Chicago or wherever your broker is, because we're going to grow your business internally. We're not going to keep robbing from Peter and Paul and Ida and the IRA and the 401k. We're going to actually earn money and use the profits that we earn from trading to pay for the next contract. We're going to climb the ladder, and we're going to pay for each rung that we climb on that ladder with profits we earn in the market. If you do it that way, it doesn't make it impossible to blow up your account. But boy, you sure got to work hard to blow it up. Or you have to simply say, I'm going to break every rule that they've taught me. Everything that they've told me not to do, I'm going to do it. And everything they've told me to do, I'm not going to do it. I'll show them. Well, I hope you'll talk yourself out of that before that happens. If you find yourself rattled and shook and you want to throw something or kick something or say words that you wouldn't kiss your mother with, with lips you wouldn't kiss your mother with, call us. Let us talk to you. Okay? We're not just traders, but we're pretty good at talking to people about their emotions and about their feelings and about what's going on in your trading. And a lot of times it will all come back to unrealistic expectations. Everybody wants to make 10 grand a day. Nobody's very excited about making 100 a day. But the only way to become a guy capable of making 10 grand a day is to first humble yourself and become very good at making $100 a day, and then 200, and then 300. Well, I don't want, that's for normal people. I've got quite a bit of money, and, I just want to start out trading, 10 contracts. Well, I hope your pockets are really deep, because at some point you're going to reach your pain threshold. And you're going to call me up, and you're going to be all upset, and you're going to say, do you have any idea how much money I've lost? And I'm going to go, no, but it sounds like a lot. Tell me. And then you're going to tell me, and I'm going to say, wow, man, I'm so sorry that happened. What made you decide not to follow the rules? How do you know I didn't follow the rules? Because if you'd followed the rules, you couldn't have lost that kind of money. because the blueprint keeps putting you back in sim, keeps putting you back in sim. You may not make any forward progress, but you don't blow your account up either. So anyway, enough of that. Michael, I know you probably got stuff you got to do. You don't want to listen to me ramble. Hopefully that thing will balance out at some point later today. You'll handle the emails. I'll talk to Jolene. And me and the audience here, we're going to cut straight over to the good word for the day.
Who has the charts right now?
Well, won't you push them to me and I'll have them.
There we go. I'll push them to you.
That was pretty smart thinking. You could probably do this for a living. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. I don't know.
All right.
Oh, I want to show a pretty picture. Can I? Can I?
Sure.
I don't know. Let me shrink this down and make sure I don't have any pinups on there. Most people don't know what a pinup is. We can close that and close that. I'll close that and that and that. I'll close that. Guys, at emini.cfrn.net. Now, this is really, it's wearing on me, so I don't know how long I can keep it up, but I'm going to try to keep it up. I want you to, number one, know that if you have any interest in options, the Chicago Board of Options, we have, this is yesterday's news, but today's news will pop up in about that long. And in the money, 9/7/16, that's today, okay? There's a lot of great stuff. This site's going through an incredible facelift because of one of our partners, Luttrell. She's just awesome at the whole website thing. She's going to get that thing shining like a beautiful diamond. What I wanted to show you, I think I got to refresh this bad boy. Or I've got to open it up. Maybe that's it. Okay, I want you to look at this. This was the daily double from yesterday. The daily double for the S&P. Here's what I try to do on the daily double every day is I try to give you a market that has a $500 margin. So it'll be S&P, Dow, Russell, or NASDAQ. I've shied away from the Russell because I know not everybody has Russell data. So for now, it'll be the S&P, Dow, and NASDAQ, okay? So at 10:37, I believe it was, we sent out the alert to go long at 2178. First target was 2181, 3 points. Second target was 2183. Third target was 2187. We got all the way up to 2186, 25, and then the markets closed. So this one trade, if you had one contract on, it would have earned you, if you just let the thing play out the whole day, this would have earned you enough to pay for 13 weeks of the daily double. So just saying, we don't claim to be the best traders on the street, on Main Street, or the tallest, or any of that other rot. The most handsome, that's debatable. I don't know. You know, people say what they're going to say. We can't stop them. But we really do try to give you our very best work every single day. I lay awake at night, kicking the covers, trying to think, you know, how I can build a better product for you, how I can increase our how I can change our training methods so that you better understand more quickly the simplicity of our methodology. The indicators themselves make it pretty simple because they're kind of like fancy reading glasses. okay, they take the information that's already there in front of you and they bring some things into view that make you go, oh, okay, I see this. I see where I should, I mean, there's 5 steps to a trade as traded in the live trading room. Now, the Concierge Trade Alerts are traded a little bit differently than that. And the daily doubles are kind of in the middle. Let me see if I can't show you something here real quick. And then we will go to the good word for the day. All right. Now, this is that daily double chart that I just showed you, but it's a live chart. Let's see if I go scrolling off this way, we'll catch today's action, which we'll talk about in a minute. But if you had the indicators laid on this, all right, this is a long trade. And so at what point did the step line get on the south side of the MA1? It did here, but it pulled right back into the BBC, and your BBC held, and it put in another leg, and it put in another leg. And so this was just a beautiful trending kind of a day. Okay, did we ever pull away from the BBC? That's what I really want to show you. Now remember, I've got this on a 5-minute. Now watch what happens when I roll it out to 30. That looks like a Salvador Dali painting. Let me see if I can fix that. I may not be able to. I don't know. Let me massage it a minute. It's gonna be hard. But yeah, I just don't think I can do it from there. Let me go the opposite direction. Let me put it on a 4-tick range chart for you and see what that looks like. Now I'm just playing around with this because I haven't actually worked this angle, but it's food for, it's something else for me to think about tonight when I'm laying there kicking the covers, worrying about you guys. I'm not worried about me because God takes care of me. Why? Why does He take care of me? Because I take care of other people. And if you want Him to take care of you, that's all you got to do. Just purpose it in your heart that you're going to take care of some people that can't take care of themselves. He'll slip up behind you. He'll do things that you're like, well, how'd that happen? Why'd that happen? Where'd that happen? Yeah, see, this is a 4-tick range. This is pretty tight. So you're going to find the time frame, if you go this route, that works real good for you, or you're just not even going to look at these. See, I probably shouldn't even have showed you the indicators because the purpose of the daily double is that you don't have access to a desktop platform with indicators. You get sent a text that says go short at this price, and like today on the S&P, which reminds me, Michael, are you still there? He's not still there. I gotta send him a quick text message. I apologize, but some things a man's got to do. What a man's got to do. Hang on, I'll be right back. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be Alright, I'm back. My phone will make weird noises in a minute because I just sent Michael a text. Now, I'm going to open the chat box. Here's what I'm curious. I think I made a mistake. The whole time, I signed up for a mentoring session tomorrow at 4:45, and when I clicked the link to book it, I don't think it was booked. Again, that's funny. At least you know what it is. You must be my age. Yes, Ken, Daniels has had technical difficulties going all the way back to yesterday afternoon. They've rebooted the main servers a couple times. They'll get it straightened out. And the last message I got was that they had it fixed. So I would be careful about placing a live order. I would call the trade desk first and say, is it safe to place an order with real money? And I would get a, if he doesn't sound real confident when he answers, this might be an afternoon you take off. Now, let me just take a look at my calendar, Dwayne, because I can do that. I can go to my calendar and I got to switch accounts. What? There we go. Okay, you say your meeting is tomorrow, Thursday at 4:45. I've got a Tom at 4:45 tomorrow. I've got a David V at 4 o'clock. Today at 4:45, I've got a Joe. And I got a Jim at 4 today. So I think you're right in that it didn't take. In fact, it looks like I'm booked up all the way through the end of the week. Let me push forward to next week and see what that looks like. Man, next week's wide open right now. It'll fill up quick though. If it's something urgent, if it's, you know, something really important, I'll make some extra time after my 4:45 meeting today. Like I can talk to you while I'm doing the Concierge Trade Alerts kind of thing. So if you want to do that, let's see, my 4:45 will be over at 5 p.m. Eastern. So if you wanted to do something around 5:15 Eastern, depends upon how deep you need to go. I mean, if you really need my undivided attention, I would say book Monday so that you can have my undivided attention. That thing is pretty good. So since that time was already taken, I'm surprised there was even a button there for that time. That because the buttons disappear as people book up the sessions. Might have been he was doing it right at the same time you were, and his got there first. That could be what happened. But after the show, you can contact me, support@cfrn.net, or you can call me 623-500-1355. That's my customer service number. Michael's is 949-42-E-MINI. Now, if you don't get an answer, leave a message. I will call you back, okay? All right, let's get the show on the road. And I'm sorry that you had a difficulty with that. It's been a pretty slick little thing, and it's worked out quite well for us. So I'm sure glad we went that route. It's made it very simple. I forget who it was that suggested to me using that. It was a member of this audience, and I'm like, but then after I looked at it, I go, you know, that might not be so bad. And it's been really good. And if you're in the audience and if you want to take credit for saying I'm the one that suggested it, I will officially play the applause sound file for you. And everybody's hand went up. It was me, it was me, it was me. No, it wasn't. It was one guy, one gal, one somebody. All right. Today we're going to talk about ministering to others. What I just said about if you'll focus your efforts on other people, on their wants, needs, and desires, and just kind of forget about yourself, which is hard to do. Don't get me wrong. It's hard to do, but over time, power of the Holy Spirit, you can master it. Where other people's wants, needs, and desires actually become more important to you than your own. That's when God, in his godlike way, just sneaks in while you're sleeping and just like takes care of your problems. He doesn't actually sit down and write out checks to pay your bills or anything, but you'll see what I mean if you'll put this into practice. God comforts us so that we can comfort others. 2 Corinthians 1, 3 through 4. You've often heard me say on this show, God blesses us so that we can be a blessing to others. He doesn't bless us just so we can be blessed. That was part of that whole prosperity gospel that fell flat on its face. Yeah, I'm happy for the man with the $900 loafers, and I'm happy for the man with the 2 airplanes. But when I think about all the starving children that wouldn't be starving if we traded in those $900 shoes or even one of those airplanes, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Oh, maybe I'm being judgmental. Yeah. Maybe I'm trying to sit in that big old chair off a Laugh-In. Lily Tomlin style. Well, let me climb down and stop judging other people and sweep out from around my own doorstep first. A century ago, oh, is that Wayne Jett?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Wayne?
Leslie, how are you? Love to hear your voice. Hey, you want to stick around? You want to stick around a minute and talk gold with us, or are you busy?
Well, it's a little busy this morning. We've had a few problems with the platform, and so
trust me, we know.
Yeah, so trying to make sure everything's stable for everybody.
All right,
so
well, maybe next Wednesday you could talk gold with me and Wayne. How about that? Okay.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
Thank you
putting
so
him
much.
through. And Wayne, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dwayne. I told Leslie that I was able to download your webinar this morning, and I've actually been able to watch your show and hear you
beautiful
on the internet for the first time, but I haven't been able to get you to hear me.
Oh, you know what has to happen? Well, let me look. Hang on. Let me look over here just a minute. Because I sent you that special link where it said you would come in with a hot mic. Now,
yes,
it
right.
might be, hang on. Hang on. Okay. Now, let's see. I can see you on the staff side, and it says you have an open mic. It's green. What sort of a microphone do you use?
The microphone on my headset. Can you hear me now?
I do. It sounds like you're a little bit distant, but I hear you. You might need to get up closer. We can keep the phone connection for today if you want to. And then, in fact, you and I can do a practice session off air if you want. But the fact that you could just, come in and view the show and all the stuff, I think that's awesome. And you want to just stay on the phone connection for today?
Well,
you'll still be able to see the charts and everything. Yeah, see, when you go to your microphone, it's like I'm not actually hearing you on your microphone. It's more like I'm hearing you because you're far away from the telephone. But you don't appear to be, I can usually tell if you're muted on your end, and you're not. And I can mute you, and I can unmute you. I just unmuted you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, like I can hear you like $1 million.
That's what we needed. I was muted. Well, that's terrific.
Okay.
Oh, that's so much. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you very much.
All right. So you hung up with Leslie.
Yes.
Beautiful. All right. So okay. So this is how it works. When you come in every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, you'll just come right in, and whatever I'm talking about, I'll hear you, rustling around in the background, and I'll go, Wayne, is that you? Welcome to the show. And all right. So guys,
well, this is so much better. I really much prefer it. I've been able to do this in other situations in the past, and it's so much easier.
Now something happened and I just lost your audio. Doggone it. Just when it was all working so good. I wonder what happened.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So something happened, but guys, this is Wayne's site, classicalcapital.com. This is the book that he poured 6 years of his life into, over 500 pages. And this isn't a bunch of conspiracy theories. This is facts. This is investigative journalism at its finest. He has really provided us with some answers that, quite frankly, a lot of people don't want to know. Why? Because it means the world that they think they live in doesn't really exist. So do yourself, do your children a service. Order the book, read the book, and then when you come on the show with us each Wednesday, you'll be able to ask Wayne specific questions about this book and what he has revealed that so many out there deny as being reality. Now, Wayne, I had a great conversation yesterday with Dane. He normally comes on Monday, but because of the holiday, he popped in for a half hour yesterday. So we had a great conversation, talked about the bumblebees. They sprayed neurotoxins in South Carolina to kill the mosquito, the one that carries, is it the Zika virus? Is that right? And in the process, they killed 2.5 million bumblebees. And Einstein said that 4 years after the bumblebees are gone, humanity will cease to exist. So, are you still with me? I seem to have lost his audio again. Are you there?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. I can still hear you fine.
Okay. All right. So could you hear me talking about the bumblebees? Something's happening, Wayne. I don't know if there is a button you need to hold on your headset when you talk, but if I mute you and then unmute you, suddenly I can hear you. Talk now.
Yes. Maybe my mic is going muted when you speak, and it stays unmuted. So when I want to speak, I guess I need to click my mic button again.
You know, that might do the trick. We'll get it figured out. But did you hear me talk about the bumblebees?
Yes, I certainly did, and I believe that kind of thing, that they treat us if it's. Can you hear me?
Oh yes, sir. Perfect. I hear you perfect. But I can't hear you now.
That is completely a lie that they just had an unforeseen side effect that it would kill bees. That is a way of destroying food production.
Your audio cut out again.
All right. Well, I don't know. I'm not doing anything to it myself.
You know, I'm thinking it could be something on my computer, but I don't know what it was because Michael was on earlier and he was able to do his portion of the show without any problem. So what we'll do is if it continues to cut out on us, I'll just get you to dial in again and we'll have Leslie reconnect you. And then you and I will, between now and next Wednesday, we'll do a trial run with the headsets and we'll get it all ironed out, okay?
All right. Well, let me ask you, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I sure can.
The little box to the right of the mic.
I just lost you right there. I just lost you right there. And
here I am again.
Okay, there you are.
I clicked it again and found that I was muted. And
okay.
So,
that's there's some kind of setting. If you email me the specs, like the name and the model number of your mic, let me research it for you and see if there's some special thing we need to do. And then otherwise we can do a trial run with it and we'll have it all ready to go next Wednesday. But go ahead, tell us your thoughts on what happened to these bees, and more importantly, if it killed all these bees, how did it affect the population that lived in that area? I lost you.
Okay, here we go again.
Yeah, you know, if you want to, if it's easier for you, if you want to call back in this time to Leslie, say, Leslie, my headset had some problems. Can you patch me through again? She'll be happy to do it. And then we'll get your headset straightened out between now and next time. But you can stay connected to the show and still be able to see the screens. We'll just be talking over the telephone. Does that work for you this time? Because I hate for you to have to keep getting cut off and all that. Well, there was a sound I hadn't heard before. That might have been him hanging up.
Hi, Leslie, this is Wayne.
All right, guys, he'll be popping back in here any minute. I think somebody was trying to text me or call me. Yeah. Yes, thank you, Leslie. We're going to get his headset issue worked out before next Wednesday so he can log straight into the show. He sounds fine, but then there's just some little glitch that we got to work out because it automatically goes on mute, and then he has to unmute it. And so yeah, we're only going to be about 30 minutes today, so thank you so much for your assistance.
Oh, my pleasure. You have a good day.
In fact, Leslie, if you can hang on for just 1 second. Are you still there?
I'm still with you too, Dwayne.
Yeah, I was just wondering if Leslie was still there. I guess she already left. Leslie, you gone? She's gone. Yeah, they're having server issues, and so all their clients are calling in today going, what's going on? And so, yeah, so
maybe the server maybe we're having server issues as well. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you know, that could be it. Wayne, yes, Wayne is with us today. In fact, he's on right now. So let's pick up where we left off. We discussed the bees, and my question to you that I don't know if you heard was, if those neurotoxins not only kill the mosquitoes but kill 2.5 million bees, what effect did they have on the population of the people living in the surrounding area there in South Carolina?
Well, I think undoubtedly they have a toxic effect on human beings. If they're able to kill bees, they would have certainly a detrimental effect directly on humans. And I think in large part that's really what the effect is all about. They're not trying to save people from the so-called Zika virus, which is itself a man-made phenomenon and one being spread purposely in order to create these so-called emergencies that require spraying. But frankly, they're spraying us every day, as Dane Wigington tells you with great detail. And I have seen more than one report, intelligence-based reports, people with connections with the intelligence community that have said that the criminal cartel running this country has threatened to exterminate tens of millions of people with spraying viruses directly if we don't stop threatening their rule of the country. That is, if we don't continue to abide by the control of the country by the Federal Reserve and those who own the Federal Reserve and those who own the big banks. Those are the ones that are trying to make certain they keep control of the White House directly as well as indirectly. And so we can expect nothing whatsoever from the CDC Center except misrepresentation as to what our health situation is, what will be best for us, and so forth. So I just heard this morning a discussion that was very concerning. It's much along the lines of the discussion we're just having, but it is an interview given by one of the Fox News radio hosts. Her name is just a moment. It's Kate. Kate Daly. She's on the radio in the afternoon on Fox News Radio online, and I guess she's on broadcast stations as well.
Now her name again is Kate?
Kate Daly, D-A-L-L-E-Y. And it is a remarkable discussion about a type of arrangement that the federal government has to seize and detain people without charges for indeterminate periods of time, preventing them from going about their business or having any communications except directly with their family for 30 minutes a week, with very strict guidelines on what may be said and what subjects may be discussed.
Now, are you referring to this right here? Canyon Media, with little or no notice to the listening audience, or even the show's host for that matter, cancel the Kate Daly show? Is that what we're talking about?
I didn't hear that. What was that news?
Now, this news was published back on May 22nd. Why the Kate Daly Show mattered. Now, I did find her also when I searched just the Kate Daly Show. Should there be an article about her was Fox News host Kate Daly fired for telling too much? May 20th, 2016. Okay, well, so tell us why you bring her up.
She was interviewed by Dave Hodges on the Common Sense Show, which is a website. And
his name is what?
His name is Dave Hodges.
Okay.
And his show is called the Common Sense Show.
All right.
And
Tell us about it.
September 6th, yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Kate Daly, there's a picture of her on the description and above the, if you look on beforeitsnews.com, you'll find the show listed there, which I found this morning.
Okay.
In the event, these civilian organizations have been given the name Communication Management Units, so that a person who is deemed to be somehow violating the government's sense of what is permissible to be said can be taken into custody, put in these communication management units, and kept there for indeterminate times without being charged, without having a court hearing, with no court proceeding whatsoever involved. And there are people who are undergoing this treatment for some time. She is has a good deal of detail about what she has discovered. That is
okay. With FEMA camps being monitored so prominently in the news, it's time to listen to what a Fox News host has to say about the topic. Fox News radio talk show host Kate Daly discussed with Dave FEMA prisons within a prison. Violators are subjected to long sentences for free speech violations. Am I getting warm? I found her on the Dave Hodges show.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's the one. And I think that's worth listening to. It's something in which, for example, Kate herself says, and she's apparently been into this kind of investigation and reporting quite some time, years I mean, and she says that she's an objective person that doesn't get emotional, but once she began looking into what is being done to people presently, that she says it shocked her so badly that she actually began weeping simply because the state of the circumstances in our country has become so dire. You can call it Nazi, you can call it whatever you wish, but it is a very, she reported about one particular man and about how he had simply become a supporter of honoring the Constitution and speaking over a considerable period of months and years about various issues, relating to constitutional rights and how important it is that the Constitution be understood and be honored and be enforced regularly by the courts and protected. And yet he has been seized and imprisoned, kept incommunicado, no lawyer, no announcement of rights, simply instructions that he is not permitted to say anything to anybody except strictly in accordance with their rules, limiting him to communication only with his family and only for 30 minutes a week. So I think that one bears some looking into. I don't know any more about it than what I've told you. I would like to spend our time, I know we don't have a lot today, and I want to make sure I tell you that 2 weeks from today, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be traveling.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know that I'm going to be able to join you at all from the circumstances.
Okay. Well, if that should change, and if you just, maybe want to dial in on a cell phone or something, that'll be fine. I've had numerous guests over the years that would just call in from wherever they happen to be. So if it's convenient for you, fine. But if you're taking a trip and having a vacation, I suggest you just go and enjoy yourself, because I know you work very hard all the time.
I will try to take your number, and if I can do that call in, I will do that. Otherwise, there will be one that I'll have to miss.
Okay.
But thank you for having me today.
You bet.
I would like to say a little bit more, if I may, about the area in which I think I have special information. I don't believe it really is available elsewhere. But as I've said to your audience before, I researched and found the actions taken to impose the Great Depression on America and the rest of the world. I believe the sufficient actions to do that were taken by the top officials of the United States, that it was imposed on the world essentially by the actions of the officials of the U.S. government, largely controlled by the same shadow government that is trying to call it all into an end game of their long-range plan, and that is to have our actual so-called elected government collapse into the complete control and full power, as they called it, being taken by their so-called men of the new republic. That was the terminology of the game plan that was published in 1901. I actually saw this week something on the web indicating that someone had announced that the new republic is now in effect. And the people who had seen that announcement were regarding it, this is very good news, that our rights will finally be respected again, and the good guys are in control. I frankly think that I haven't been able to check that out to see who issued the notice or the announcement that the new republic is now in effect. But if such an announcement was made by anyone in authority, I'm quite sure that it is bad news, not good news, because the new republic is one that completely destroys the middle class, just completely destroys representative government, creates a two-class system in which there are only rulers and the number of servants and slaves that are necessary and desirable to serve the rulers. That would not be a good thing for humanity in any way whatsoever, of course.
Of course.
So that is the circumstance in which the Great Depression was imposed on the people. It was to get ahead of the equation that had seen the middle class, particularly in America, grow by great leaps and bounds during the 19th century, and to make sure it didn't happen in the 20th century. Their goal was to destroy as much of the middle class, to impoverish it, and frankly to kill as many of the middle class as they could by starvation and by whatever means else they could bring into the equation without being openly discovered. I identify those actions in detail, and not just identify the actions, but also analyze them from the view of the economic effects.
Do you analyze the motivation?
Well, yes, I do later on. That is a follow-on. What the book does essentially is document the historical fact. And what I do in the very first chapter of the book is state the basic principles and pillars of classical economic theory. Classical economics was the body of understanding of the way the economy works.
Mm-hmm.
That was essentially at the root of the growth of the middle class, and the influence of the representative bodies in England enough through Parliament that they actually allowed the middle class to start prospering and to actually start competing against the ruling elite that had always ruled back through more than 1,000 years by putting kings and queens in place and then using the power of the king and queen as absolute monarch to make sure that they were the only ones able to do business and to keep the rest of the population poor and enslaved. That was called mercantilism, and that's obviously a very polite term to make it look like what it was just a bunch of businessmen selling merchandise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mercantilism was the kingmaker type of government in which those with enough power and influence, having obtained it in whatever way possible, ordinarily by war and plunder, they put the king in place to have complete divine authority over everyone else in society, and everyone else in society can be killed at a moment's notice. Some of the things that we're beginning to notice more and more in America and the world at large, whether you use drones or whatever you do, it seems that lives are expendable on a moment's notice at the whim of those in power. But what I said in the preface of my book is that I promise you, if you read chapter 1 of my book, that you will never again be able to be confused and obfuscated by the Keynesian economists who supposedly are at the pinnacle of economic decision-making in the United States.
I was going to ask you that question. How does Keynesian economic theory differ from the mercantile theory and the other theory that you've discussed?
Keynesianism, and let me just tell you a little background on Keynes himself.
Okay.
His father was a full professor of economics at Cambridge University for his career and taught classical theory there his entire career. The son, John Maynard Keynes, also became, in his father's footsteps, a classical economist teaching classical economic theory at Cambridge University in England. However, during the 30s, after having some rows with other classical theories about differences of opinion about how classical theory ought to work and what could be done to make things better in the economy, he broke with that and wrote a book in 1935-36 called The General Theory of Employment, Interest, and Money. And in that, he essentially, believe it or not, you never hear this about that, the so-called general theory, but the last part of his book, about a third of it, is about how, well, yes, it's really, it does seem to be the case that I'm going to mercantilism. And it's true that I've found that there are many beneficial effects of mercantilism. And in fact, I've quoted in my book at quite a number of places the authority on mercantilism, who was a Swedish economist whose name I can't call to mind right this minute, but nevertheless, the world recognized authority on mercantilism was a Swedish economist who frankly wrote 2 volumes on it, but it treated it in a way that would have to have done. That is, he treated it more as an economic system and having nothing to do with putting kings in place or controlling society. And so that man himself, after Keynes came out with the general theory, the Swedish economist published remarks analyzing what had been done and saying that basically Keynes had gone over to the mercantilism side. He was supporting ideas and theories that classical economics had shown clearly to be in error, and yet he's doing it anyway. What Keynes added to the equation of mercantilism is that he added theories that support the kind of things they want to do, but it supports them in very confusing ways. He turns issues inside out. The way I describe it in my book, it's like he uses a telescope from the wrong end. He looks through the big end, and things that are simple up front, by the time you see it through the telescope, it's way, way out there and very small and hard to get a handle on. That's the way Keynesianism has been used ever since. It allows the real motives of the people who are acting and the actions they're taking to be completely confused and obfuscated, so you don't understand and you misunderstand why they're really doing it. It's completely counterintuitive, and they wind up using lots of big words and very thick ideas to make you think that what they're doing is just above your head, that you can't understand it, and just trust them, it'll all work out. But it basically is a way to lie about what they're doing and why they're actually doing it. That's the key role that Keynesianism has developed, and it's completely taken over the academic universities now. It's impossible to get a degree in classical economic theory any longer, even if you can get a course in classical economic theory.
Really?
But I give you a course, the basic course in classical economic theory in chapter 1 of my book, and I'm happy to say that at least the few reviewers that have written about my book on Amazon, 2 or 3 of them had said that chapter 1 is worth the price of the book itself.
Really?
It is, I believe, fully understandable. It makes clear that, as Adam Smith said, that the classical economic theory is basically the law of the firm. That is, the theory of the firm. It's what conditions will make it possible for people to fairly compete, to have a business that is able to succeed without conditions being imposed on it by government that makes bankruptcy a certainty. It is actual public policy that that makes it possible for fair competition, but does not destroy the possibility that one who is not super rich can succeed. That's the way you start building the theory, at least with the ideas in mind, and then you come down to the basic concepts. What are the things that are essential for there to be a fair opportunity for people to compete and to do business and to succeed? Those are the ideas that I describe in some detail in that chapter 1. It's not a really long chapter. It doesn't have lots of charts, but the few charts that it has are straightforward and easy to understand, and they make you understand why. For example, what's called the Laffer curve now. The Laffer curve was originally known as the theory of diminishing returns so far as tax rates are concerned. That is, if you keep on raising tax rates, you get to a point where the government actually gets less in tax revenues than if they didn't raise the tax. If they lowered the tax, they would actually increase the amount of revenues the government gets. So that's the law of diminishing returns. Obviously, if you go to 100% tax, you get zero tax rates because nobody does anything. And when you draw the curve on that, you can see that clearly from the point at which you get zero tax revenues because the tax rate is zero, you can start raising the rates and actually increase the amount of revenue that you get by raising rates for a point in time, but eventually you reach that great divide when you start dropping in revenues even though you raise tax rates higher. Roosevelt, for example, clearly raised rates above that maximum, and it was done in order to destroy the ability of businesses to compete and destroy the ability of the middle class to succeed and to be prosperous because you just can't succeed in business. That's why businesses were failing. So that's the way in which classical economic theory was blamed for the Great Depression when it was actually the violations of classical economic theory that caused the Great Depression. I described those events, those actions in Chapter 6 of my book. So there we are. I think we're probably past your 30 minutes already.
Well, yeah, we got a couple minutes here. I want to read some of the comments in here that are readable. Somebody posted, and I'll put it in the show notes tonight. By the way, anytime that you come on, any of the topics that you and I discuss will go in that day's show notes. So if you go after the show, or any of your friends or followers go to emini.cfrn.net, what you'll see is, to give you an example, right here, if we go to yesterday's show, let me find it. That would be right here. CFRN Emini Radio with Dane Wigington. So tonight it'll say CFRN Emini Radio with Wayne Jett. And then these are all the different talking points that we had yesterday. And so I provide folks with the links. So the Kate lady that you gave me that link to, that will go up there. And so anytime that you come and people listen to the program after the fact by clicking here, they will be able to kind of follow along and go to these different links and investigate for themselves exactly what it is that we were talking about on the show. So back to the chat box here. Let me, Tom is, well, let's just see. See, Ken published an article or gave me a link to Crude's betrayal of Donald Trump. Brilliant. I don't know if that's tongue-in-cheek or not. Oh, did you hear, Wayne, that Goldman Sachs has banned their employees from donating to Donald Trump's campaign? I mean, that's not even legal, is it? But yet a memo went out.
Well, as we can see with the handling of the so-called FBI investigation of Hillary, the law doesn't apply.
Exactly. Exactly.
So don't be concerned with that.
Well said. Well said.
In fact, and by all means, people ought to take advantage of the present circumstances to see so clearly the point that I've made time and again in my writings. There is only one establishment. There is only one ruling power. It owns both political leaderships. If you haven't noticed the fact that the Bushes and all their allies and cronies have gone over to support Hillary, that's the biggest clue you have that Trump is not the stooge of the same ruling elite as the Republican leadership support. They actually would prefer that Hillary Clinton be elected president than to have someone outside the puppeteers who control the leadership of both parties. Now that is a very stern reminder of just how badly we've been misled in voting Republican or voting Democrat all these years. This is the kinds of criminal activities that are being documented daily, the extent to which billions and trillions have been stolen from the people, not just through the financial market, but through the U.S. Treasury, is just it's beyond comment practically that people have this much power that they can get away with what they're doing, and no one does a thing. Even before our eyes, we get report after report of people being murdered because somehow they were in a position to divulge information that might be harmful to the reputations or politics of the powers that be. And we've got to come to grips with this thing. I think there are indications that it may be possible to rid ourselves of this shadow government, and we'll see whether that can come to pass. Okay.
Let me send this little message to Jim because he makes me feel good all under. His last name is Haynes. If you might be old enough to remember that commercial. Anyway, you know, Tom, somehow I think you get us confused with the enemy. Let's see, you use an expletive that I won't repeat on the show. You did censor it by semi-bleeping it yourself. Your guest note, he goes, we are toast. I'll use that word. We're toast. Your guest knows it, and you do too. The systemic corruption is so perverse in all levels of government that the only solution is a total reset. And who knows how that will go. I really fear what my grandchildren's future will be. Okay. Tom goes on to say, how can we expect fair competition when both the resources and markets are controlled by huge macro corporations? I think you're preaching to the choir there. That's the very point that Wayne, I believe, has tried to get across. And to wrap up, to you all, it is amusing. but in my lifetime, I've never seen anything so perverse, so corruptive, that now I really fear for my family. I don't believe that Wayne or I have said anything that indicates that we in any way find any of it amusing at all. So you need to check your hat at the door on that one.
Let me, if I may, just interject.
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
I pulled up the page on the Amazon reviews, and one of the ones that I like contains a statement in, the book reads like a Lee Child's novel, but is not fiction, and marshals facts and figures that are a compelling indictment. Lee Childs is the one who, the famous author who wrote all the high-action novels about the guy that now Tom Cruise is now making movies playing his main character. To me, that was one of the greatest compliments I've had. That someone thinks that I come anywhere close to writing and making a readable book that way. Another one says,
I've got the page up. Tell me which one. Yeah, history that reads like a Lee Child's novel. Okay, I've got that one here. I'm going to put that in our show notes tonight.
And there's another one that's one of my favorites. Of course, every one of them I appreciate.
More in 10 pages than most books. That's got to be good. Mind-blowing. Okay.
That one, that one, Emma Link, is one of my very favorites, and it was unusual from the standpoint that that person, I believe a lady, wrote that that very thoughtful comment after reading only the first. She says, I'm at page 31. And she says, and I already got my money's worth. Now, that's the kind of thing that
well, that's got to be very gratifying to you.
So glad to have been able to contribute, and so happy that someone heard me on the radio. And I'm sure these are people that don't just have money flowing out of their running out of their ears. Nobody has that.
Those kind of people don't want to read this because they're afraid the rest of the world will find out the truth.
And for someone to to get up and actually go to the expense of ordering the book, I mean, and I'm quite sure that lady is the one who heard me on the big broadcast radio station out of Detroit, which gave me 2 interviews back in 2011.
Right. Then the host got fired?
Yeah. And so anyway, I'm humbled about it, but nevertheless, I didn't think I could write a book nearly as important as what it turned out to be, because somehow or other the information that I needed, I got all of it and was able to, I think, do justice to it in explaining what people don't know. I assure you they don't know. They have not been told by the press. They have not been told by other authors what was done, what the effects were of the actions taken, both by Hoover but primarily by Franklin Roosevelt, to make certain that the economy was destroyed, to make certain that the gold standard that supported a stable value for our currency was destroyed. In my first chapter, the pillar that I discuss about monetary policy, the most important principle of classical economics, is that the value of the monetary unit must not change. It must be as close to stable as humanly possible. And you can't just make that happen because you say it. You have to have a mechanism in place that convinces people that it's stable and actually makes it so. And it happens that by the nature of gold, not because it's shiny and expensive, but because it has the one quality that does not change. It does not rust. It does not canker. It does not change its nature just by the passage of time or the effects of weather. And by that, that quality makes it usable as a measuring stick for how much your currency will be worth. And when you put it into a mechanism by which you can exchange the paper for gold at any time, it makes the paper actually reliable as money. And it appears to me that that is a system that is actually already coming to pass back into the present, not by the actions of the United States, but by China and Russia and Brazil and India and South Africa, the BRICS nations, and all of the allied more than 100 nations that are going with them on that. It's going to happen again because the world needs prosperity and they're fighting for it. And I hope we can go with them. Americans need as much as anybody else to go with them because we've been robbed just like they have been. Perhaps they've been robbed worse than we have. But we're certainly being robbed right now. Every day we go through another day of QE, quantitative easing, is another day of robbery of what we worked for and accumulated as our capital savings. So with that, I think I'll leave you at 1 o'clock.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate having you with us here each and every week. Right. And between now and, you say it'll be 2 Wednesdays from now when you'll be out, but between now and next Wednesday, you and I'll get together and we'll do a test run on that headset. And if you email me the brand name and the model number, if it's evident on the package or on the unit, I'll research it and see what we need to do to make it work, okay? Thanks so much. Take care. All right. Okay, guys, this is Silver. Silver trying to make a run. On June 28th, we put in a high up at 21, we'll just call it 21 and a quarter. Today, we're actually attempting to get back over $20. We got over 20 yesterday. We're down today. Wayne, I can still hear you, brother. Oh, you know what? I need to hit your mute button over here. That way I won't pick up your mic. Okay. All right. So, do we have a trend line here? Well, let's take a look-see. We haven't hit it yet. We shied away from it yesterday. Now, right-click, copy, right-click, paste. Exact same angle. And that gives us our price channel right there. Okay, that's a downward sloping price channel. Not really what my friend wants to see, but touch channel 1, 2, 3 times. So everything qualifies. Once we get back to the middle, which I'm not going to take the time to calculate it out because we're running short on time, it's going to be back about 1930. Once we reach the middle of the channel, it then becomes a 50-50 probability whether we're going back to the bottom of the channel, which ain't nothing but a thing, or we rally and we knock out the top of the channel. Do a Trader Vic and bounce off the top. I'm telling you, here's what my friend's going to do. If he can catch a double on this purchase, he's going to sell half, and he's going to ride the balance into eternity, or close to it. That's what he's doing. Now, what we're doing is we are going to go to our good word for the day. Let's see. Marvin had offered to the show that the 1.4 billion was 2 planes after the 400 million sent on the first planes 19 days ago, 19 days later, all cash. So what Marvin's bringing to the show is that, hang on, let me go back and find his first post. It is right here. Well, according to Marvin, it came out on TV today. Hang on. That Obama sent another cargo plane to Iran with 1.4 billion. Let's see if we can $1.4 billion sent to Iran. Didn't auto-populate. U.S. to pay Iran 1.7 billion in legal settlement. Now that's dated January 17th of this year. So that's not it. If possible, Marvin, if you can get me a link to that, if it is in fact new news, then I want to include it in the show links. But I'm finding where Obama sent the 1.7 billion. I'm finding where he sent 400 million last month, but I'm not showing the fresh 1.4. So if you can find that for me, I would love to include that in tonight's show notes. Just simply send me a link, okay? And let's see. Guy, Tom left. So Tom, you can't hear my reply. So, well, let me see. Sometimes you leave and then you change your mind and you come back. Nope, I guess this time you left for good. Okay. I thank you for acknowledging my comments, but your comment to me in the text box, the Lord God Almighty himself is in control. I do not understand. But what I have I didn't type that to you, Tom. I'm looking at every chat box that you typed in. I didn't type that to you. Which is interesting because you are speaking about a topic that another guest, Jim, brought up. So maybe the same guy living in one body. I don't know. The Lord God Almighty himself is in control. I do not understand, but what I have, I stated that is contrary to what your guest said. Just take care, Dwayne. Okay, I will, to the best of my ability. And I thank you for your concern. Okay. Sorry, what I stated is not contrary to what your guest said. Right. That's what I said. I said you're preaching to the choir. You're saying the same thing that we said, but you said you guys find it amusing. Well, we don't find it amusing. We're about as ticked off as two people can get. Now, Jim, when out of context, way wrong answer. I just read the Quran. Oh, well, good for you. When I speak of silver, you always say your friend. Who is your friend? The Lone Ranger, Hi-Ho Silver, I thought it was me. Oh, Jim, you know, someday I'll be able to take you seriously, but only. Now I'm gonna tell you why this came up, because Jim has attempted to be a thorn in my side for some time, but I won't let him because I just love everybody. It started out with, I thought the Lord, you are two people in one body. Okay, now you've tripped up. So the next time y'all come back and leave at the same time, yeah, okay, I got your number now. I thought the Lord God Almighty himself is in control. And my response was, well, actually, Satan is the ruler of this world, according to the Bible. And then Jim/Tom said, well, think about what you said. And I said, well, I'm just quoting scripture, Jim. I don't write it. I just read it daily. So now that you both are gone, I guess it doesn't even matter. But I wish you both the best. I do. All the days of your life. May they be long upon the earth. All right. Ministering to others. The importance of getting your focus off of yourself and on the wants and needs of others. Okay? Not the desires of others. Because maybe he wants a Cadillac or she wants, you know, and it's not your job to go out and buy them a new car. I said the wants and needs of other people. A century ago, a lady visited an American orphanage and asked the matron, is there a child here nobody has offered to adopt? The matron replied, yes, there is. Her name is Mercy Goodfaith. She's 10 years old, not much to look at, and has a hunchback. The lady said, that's the child I want. 35 years later, the director of the Orphanage Inspection Department in Iowa submitted the following report on a state-run facility. The home is outstanding. It's clean. The food's good. The children are well cared for. And the atmosphere is unlike anything I've ever experienced. The matron, Mercy Goodfaith, has a soul that oozes love. She has such beautiful eyes, I forgot how homely her face was, or that she was a hunchback. Because a good Samaritan had the courage to nurture and love a little girl that everyone else overlooked, Mercy Goodfaith went on to share that same love with hundreds, I said hundreds of other orphans. Paul says in 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 3 through 4, God comforts us so that we can comfort those in trouble with the very comfort we received ourselves. And as I always say, God blesses us so that we can be a blessing to others. He doesn't bless us just so we can be blessed. And stop talking in Christianese. Good gracious, I just want to pray for people. When I ask somebody at church, hey, how you doing? And they say, oh, I am highly blessed and favored of God. Oh my goodness, you're the reason people don't come to church, because they don't want to hear that. It just doesn't even make sense to them, and it sounds arrogant and puffed up. The Pharisees talked like that in King's English. No, they didn't. King's English hadn't been invented then. Billy Graham adds, those who have suffered the most are best able to comfort others, to emphasize with their afflictions because of what they've experienced. Our sufferings may be hard to bear, but our goal should be to learn all we can from what we're called to endure so we can fulfill a ministry of comfort as Jesus did. Hebrews 2:18, because he himself suffered when he was tempted, he is able to help those who are being tempted. The sufferer becomes the comforter in the service of the Lord. So you see, wherever you're at in life, I'm talking about if you're down and out, if you're on Skid Row, Joe, if you turn your life over to Christ and say, here, use me. I've got no use for my life. I've made an absolute mess out of it. If you can use it, it's yours. If not, take my life, please. He will. He will take your life. And if you allow him, he will mold you and shape you into something that you could never even believe you are capable of achieving, doing, or being. I've seen it happen again and again in so many lives. Now, I have a lot of experience with recovery homes. Okay, my wife and I ran a recovery home, one for men, one for women, way back in the day. And I called this weekend. I did a search of recovery homes in my zip code, and one popped right to the top called Elba House. And I thought, well, let me give the Elba House a call. And I spoke with a Miss Greta. She was very nice. And I said, since your center is located so close to our church, I would like to invite all of your residents to come to church with us on Sunday morning. We don't do anything weird. Plus, we have breakfast before church, not bacon and eggs, but we have fresh fruit, and we have donuts, we have bagels, and we have coffee, and we have just, a time of fellowship before the service starts. The service runs from 10 until about 11:45, 11:50. She goes, oh, that would be so awesome. Let me check with the powers that be, and I'll call you back tonight and let you know. Well, as the sky hung low in the west, I hadn't had a return call, so I called again. Actually, I didn't. I take that back. I waited till Sunday morning, and I called, and I got a different Miss Somebody. And I said, is Miss Greta in? No, she's off today. I said, oh, okay. I spoke with her yesterday, and I told her the whole story again. And she goes, oh, well, that's very nice. She goes, but that would have to be approved by our clinical team of, people, who smoke pipes on Wednesday. She didn't say they were pipe smokers, but I'm referring to an old boss of mine, and I had a running joke about certain types of people that we call pipe smokers. And I ain't talking crack pipes. I'm talking about tobacco pipes. Anyway, so my request to take these residents to church has to be approved by a group of pipe smokers. And there may be women in this group because they don't really smoke pipes. It's, if you don't get it, just forget it. And I thought, oh my gosh, But then I realized that because they do have this clinical staff, chances are they're on the federal dole, which means if they're on the federal dole, that they can assign a staff member to accompany the residents to church, and not only will the center get federal dollars, but the staff member who's assigned will get paid time and a half, maybe even double time for working on a Sunday. So I think I'm going to actually get a yes on this whole thing. Now, I may be getting ahead of myself, but we'll see. We'll see what happens when I call them later today and see if they've rendered a decision so that we can make proper arrangements to pick them up at the proper time. Because, you see, these are people who need the love of Jesus. If they build their recovery on simply the 12 steps, and in the 12 steps, which is, it was created by God-fearing men, but because they wanted it to be open to all people, they removed God out of the picture and called him simply a higher power. And if you don't believe in God, it's okay. Your higher power can be a tree or an ashtray or a doorknob. And eventually at some point you'll have an experience, and you will in fact, through the practice of the 12 steps, you will form a connection with your higher power. Now, in our homes, we had a home for men and a home for women. Please excuse me for one moment. My apology. Okay. So people knew coming in the door that our recovery home was a Christian recovery home, that we used a book called The Spiritual 12 Steps. It's much like the course Celebrate Recovery, but a little different, okay? Our success rate, even though it was biblically based, was not 100% by far. But the average success rate of even the most expensive recovery centers in Malibu overlooking the ocean, they're less than 30%. But I saw through my own experience through running these homes that those who actually developed a personal relationship with their Creator, their chance for success to still be clean and sober 10 years later, it was phenomenal. They were a high probability trade. They really were. Because they weren't depending on a book. They weren't depending on me. They were depending upon the one who created them for a reason and a purpose. And if in the short time that they were in our home, we could get them connected not only with their Creator, but with their purpose, with their passion, their chance for success soared. In fact, many of them went on to themselves run homes of recovery for men and women. I'm reminded of that because of this hunchbacked little girl that nobody would adopt, but yet some woman said, that's the one I want because nobody else will take her. She raised her, she loved her, and this little hunchback went on to raise, care for, and share the love of God with hundreds of orphans. Most of us can't even stand to be around our own kids, much less love and care for orphans, many of whom I bet you had special needs. So, am I asking you to go adopt a hunchback? No. Am I asking you to go sponsor someone in recovery? No. I'm asking you to take your eyes off yourself long enough to see that there are other people in this world who have needs and desires that are greater than yours. And if I can just push you out there far enough so that you get all tied up and focused in helping them, and you forget about your own troubles for a few minutes. Now, you can't become lackadaisical in your own responsibilities. You still got to get up and go to work every day and pay your bills and do all of that. But your spare time is spent helping others. If we can, as a group, as a body of believers, bound together by royal heritage, who speak the same language, if we begin to reach out to those less fortunate than us, those who can never pay us back, and pour out our lives like a drink offering into their lives, friend, you and I, now when I say you and I, I'm speaking to thousands right now, you and I can change the world. Don't you want to be a world changer? I pray you do. That's our good word for the day. All right, couple headlines. We're going to hit them quick. We're going to hit them and go. Okay, the iPhone 7 release came out today. Let me just, new iPhone features. Let me see if I can just get a quick rundown. Let's see what we got so far. I'm looking for a blog that was last updated. No, new iPhone features live. Blog. Live stream, live blog. Blog. Blah. That's what I'm looking for. I want the blog, not the stream. I may wish in one hand and spit in the other. I said spit. Oh, iPhone is saving the best for the 2017 iPhone 8. Okay. Well, this live blog did not satisfy my need. I just want a list of what are the new features. What are the new features? Come on. All I had to do was type in, what are the new features? Massive iPhone 7 leak reveals 15 new features. That's 2 days old. Maybe I should click on the news tab. All right. Turns out there's actually 6 new features. And that came out of India. All right. So what do we got? The new Apple iPhone, as per multimedia reports of the past few months, the handsets will sport several new features. The upcoming iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus are expected to feature dual speakers placed at the bottom of the handset. Now that's a problem I've always had with the iPhone. If you just want to lay it on your desk and play music, it's not loud enough. The speakers are expected to deliver richer sound and enhance the media viewing experience. Also rumored is the inclusion of an integrated amplifier for louder audio output. Okay, 3D Touch 2.0 support. Besides better speakers, the Apple iPhone 7 and the 7 Plus are said to feature 3D Touch 2.0 technology for better feedback and more functionality. In addition, the display would also receive the ability to show wider color gamuts like we've seen with the iPad models. Okay. The iPhone 7 and 7 Plus are rumored to sport two rear 12-megapixel cameras that can record 4K resolution videos in 60 frames per second. That's fast. To improve the camera experience, the handsets might feature 4 camera flash LEDs instead of 2. iPhone 7 models are also likely to ditch the headphone jack, we already talked about that, and replace it with lightning connectors instead. Companies also expected to launch wireless, Bluetooth-enabled earpods. The new iPhone will be water resistant. We've already covered that. There'll be a little change in the size or the design due to a shift in the position of the antenna. Now, the biggest thing of all is that the new iPhone 7 will be powered by Apple's new A10 chip, manufactured by TSMC, offering a maximum clock speed of 2.4 gigahertz. I've got a desktop here that's required to do a lot of work every day. It only has a clock speed of 1.4 gigahertz. More storage, more RAM. They're dropping the 16 gigabit model. And they're going to add a 64 gigabit and a 256 gigabit variant. You're going to get some new color options. No change in the screen size. All right, that's about it. Okay, so you'll be able to Google that up if you have an interest in it. I know some of you could care less about iPhones because you have Android, or I talked to somebody the other day and he said, I don't even know what a smartphone is. I said, okay. Donald Trump's infamous media blacklist has come to an end. Hope Hicks, a spokesperson for the New York businessman's campaign, confirmed on Wednesday morning that reporters from select media outlets would no longer be barred from covering events. Previously, Trump had prohibited reporters from the Huffington Post, BuzzFeed, Politico, and the Washington Post from covering his campaign events. The news was first reported by CNN. Trump told the cable news outlet, I figure they can't treat me any worse. Trump's move to lift the blacklist came as his opponent, Hillary Clinton, also loosened up her restrictions on the press. Over the Labor Day weekend, the Democratic presidential nominee unveiled a new plan allowing press to travel with her. Clinton also gaggled with press on Monday and Tuesday. Now, guys, if you don't think this election has been bought and paid for in full, well, go ask Bernie Sanders and ask all the people that donated money to his campaign. If I can get this phone to open, I'm going to share one last article with you, and then we're going to do the recap and get out of here. Come on now. Open up. Be a good iPad. Why does it do this sometimes? Okay, I see. Goldman Sachs has enacted a set of rules that bans the firm's top employees from contributing to certain campaigns, including the Trump-Pence ticket. Well, I don't think this is legal. The rules kicked in September 1st and will apply only to partners of the firm. That might be legal, but I don't know. The firm says the rules weren't meant to remove any implication of so-called pay-to-play. 4 years ago, the bank paid $12 million to settle charges that a former Boston-based banker had picked up bond underwriting business in the state while working for and contributing funds to the then campaign of a then Massachusetts state treasurer and governor hopeful, Tim Cahill. But the people in the Trump campaign are sure to question the timing. That's because the rules ban donations to politicians running for state or local offices, as well as donations to state officials who are seeking federal office. That makes campaign contributions to the Trump-Pence ticket a no-no, because Pence is the current governor of Indiana. At the same time, the rules do not restrict donations to Clinton Cain. Cain is a U.S. Senator for Virginia and not considered a local official under Goldman's rules. But Lloyd Blankfein, Goldman's CEO, who has declined to say who he is supporting, is known to be a longtime Clinton supporter. Blankfein donated to Clinton when she ran against Obama in 2008. Goldman declined to comment on this story. The policy change is also meant to minimize potential reputational damage caused by any false perception that the firm is attempting to circumvent pay-to-play rules, particularly given partners' seniority and visibility, the firm wrote in the memo first seen by Politico. All failures to pre-clear political activities as outlined below are taken seriously, and violations may result in disciplinary action. Fortune in July reported that SEC rules would make it nearly impossible for the Trump-Pence campaign to raise money from private equity managers, citing pay-to-play rules. How about Hillary? Oh, she picked a senator. The ban doesn't eliminate a large number of potential Trump donors. The bank has 467 partners globally out of 30,000 plus employees. But since Goldman partners tend to be some of the wealthiest people in finance, the fact that they aren't allowed to send money to the Trump campaign could make a big difference, particularly among the race for Wall Street dollars. And that is an area where Trump has been trailing. But he's also been catching up lately. All of the bank's employees are already required to seek approval from the firm regarding any campaign contributions. Pay-to-play rules were first introduced by the SEC in 2010 after several investment advisors were accused of trying to win business, such as managing public pensions, with improper tactics, including political contributions. If a financial advisor were to make a campaign contribution to a public official or candidate, they would be banned from providing advisory services for compensation to the government client for 2 years under the rule. So there you have it. Donald's got a real uphill, but you know what? Even though you heard me say he wasn't my first pick, okay? The more I see this criminal pull this kind of stunt. Now, you all do remember that it hasn't been that long ago that Goldman Sachs paid her $700,000 to speak to their partners at an after-dinner gala. When asked why she would accept $750,000 from Goldman Sachs for an after-dinner speech, her answer was, that's what they offered. See, that's her rule book. That's how she plays. Anyway, let's go to the markets. What do we got going? There was a 2-point daily profit on the short side of the ES trade. And Michael sent out an alert while I was busy for everybody to go ahead and just lock in your $100 per contract per day, and you're good to go. Okay? You had a really nice 8-point trade yesterday. Today you caught 2 points. Now it's possible the long side is going to trade on this, whether you choose to trade it or not. You've already got it in your app, so I'm going to leave that up to you. Now, let's get to the Concierge Trade Alerts from last night, because I got a bunch of mentoring sessions this afternoon. Tuesday evening. They got out a little late, and I'm sorry, but we had the Concierge Trade Alert webinar yesterday afternoon where I gave specific instructions to those in attendance how to trade the alerts. Okay? If you weren't there, you missed a really good time. Okay? All right. ESU, buy 21.91, never happened. Sell 21.80, that happened. And did it give you your 2 points for the day? It did. Okay. So let's move on to the Dow. And we'll just scoot this right on over. Okay. The alerts went out at 10:30, so that's going to be 22:30. That's going to be right there. $22.30. All right. Remember, these are last week's zones. Tomorrow, Thursday, I will reveal this week's zones. Okay? All right. Now, you can see the carryover effect that the old zones have. They might get in the way of this. Buy 18,575, never happened. Or be a seller at 18,490. That happened. 18,490 down to 71, that's 19 points. And then again down to 69, that's 21 points. So $19 points available. 21 points available. Obviously, that's per contract. What's an IPA? Okay. Let's get over to gold. Oh, and I had to break this out for the webinar yesterday afternoon. I wanted to show everybody what that looked like on a smaller time frame. Now, yesterday, as you recall, we had a huge day in gold. Our Concierge Trade Alert said to buy 1333. And that's part of yesterday's teaching, so that needs to go bye-bye. $1,000 per contract, $2,000 per contract. The indicators finally told you to exit the trade at 13.53. However, we have a rule of thumb that says anytime you make $1,000 per contract on one instrument in one day, just take the money and walk away. But this was such a straight shot, and there was no danger. I mean, it wasn't until here that the step line started to walk sideways across the MA1. So, although we have the rule of thumb, which I very much believe in, when it's this clean and clear of a shot, especially if you got 10 contracts riding on this thing, that's 20 grand, okay? There's a whole lot of people. Well, let me just say it again. The average household income in America with 2 people working is, I think, 54,000. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Now, that's average. There's parts of the country where it's considerably higher and parts of the country where it's like down in the 30s, okay? So the average nationwide is 50 and change. Okay. So there's gold. Now, I did this right, but I did make a boo-boo. And I'm going to explain myself very carefully. 2230. That's going to be from the red candle 1, 2, 3 over. 1, 2, 3. All right, I guess it's about time to type the word bonds again. A. All right, we'll do it. Wow, what did I type? 470. I only meant to go 20. That'll wake you up. All right, bonds, 20. All right, now, as you all remember yesterday, I said we're going to roll bonds to December so I don't make a mistake tonight when I send out the alerts, okay? So I did the alerts at the right price. What I didn't do is I didn't change this to ZBZ. I usually write rollover bonds, new contract, ZBZ6, and then I follow it up. Anyone who heard the show, anyone receiving the Concierge Trade Alerts, anyone who knows me, looked at the numbers and said, oh, yeah, he got it right. He just forgot to change the symbol. Okay. So now that I've mea culpa'd myself, I encouraged you to buy bonds. I didn't encourage you to buy bonds. I said, if you want to make some money, consider buying bonds at 171.09. So how'd that work out? Let's find out. It's 171.09. Right there. Buy 171.09. Yeah, I know it doesn't look like a whole lot, but bonds pay 31.25 per tick. The swing high right here, swing high 171.16. Swing high 171.16. So we can all do a little fast math in our head. 9 and 7 is 16. So if I had my calculator, which seems to have disappeared, 31.25 times 7 equals, it's $218 per contract. Okay? If you only had one contract on, you're on track for a $1,000 a week. If you had 10 contracts on, well, you can do the math on that. Okay? Now the sell side on bonds was 170.13. That never triggered. A reminder, these are last week's zones. Okay? Now, the buy side, well, let's drop the flagpole, 22.30. Okay. All right. 22.30. Crude oil. Be a buyer at 45.10. Be a seller at 44.65. If you bought them at 45.10, you've got that grin. Or maybe you're not. Maybe you're not the grinning type. Maybe you just take it all in stride. $45.10. One side's lower than the other. What's wrong with this picture? Is that it? Snap judgment. $45.10. Okay. So a fellow says, I'm going to buy $45.10. Now, are you going to buy the first $45.10? You could if you wanted to, but there'd be an awful lot of risk involved. Would you get stopped out? No. I'll give you a couple swing highs. Right there's 45.34. So that's 24 ticks. $240 per contract available. Okay. And then price dips back below, and then it dips back below, and then it puts in another swing high up here at 42. So that would be $320 per contract available. Okay. To 43.20. This was the best trade of all, and depending upon your risk profile, you might have taken this trade. Okay. Would it have given you dollar for dollar had you taken it? It would have done better than a 1-to-1 risk ratio. Okay. This trigger went up to 45.58, so 480. Yeah, it would have been, you'd have made about what you risk on it. Okay. I was very specific with the folks yesterday on stop placement. Okay, so just because it's a big runner doesn't necessarily mean it's a trade you would have taken. Okay. Okay. All right. Soybeans, how y'all doing? 2,200 hours. What? Oh, I put this on a 5-minute chart too during class yesterday. Now let's put it back on a 30-minute chart where it makes sense. Okay. So 2230. That's going to be the green candle right next to the big red candle. All right, on soybeans, the recommendation was at the very bottom, by 966, be a seller at 54. Buyer at 66, seller at 54. Okay, buyer at 66, looks like right here. Okay. All right, buy 966. Swing high, 78. So that's going to be 12 points. At $50 per point per contract available. Okay. I'm trying to keep my shorthand very simple. 12 points at $50 per point per contract available. So that's what the market made available. We told you where to get in. I taught you yesterday where to put your stop, and this was the reward that you reaped. 12 times, that's a $600 move per contract. Okay. All right. Next is going to be the NQ, my old friend. All right, 2230. Right there. I missed it, but I don't think it's going to make any difference. If it does, I'll change it. It should be on this candle, 2230. I'm just trying to get through here sort of quick. Soybeans, ZSX6, no, not soybeans, NQ. NASDAQ, buy 48.33. So we're going to be a buyer at 33. We're going to be a seller at 26. A buyer at 33. That doesn't look too exciting, I must say. Buyer 48.33. And the swing high was 37.75. So that's 4.75. How many points do you need to be done for the day? 5. So there was 4 3/4 points available per contract right there. Okay? But of course, important prices, important areas are almost always tested. Now, where we would have placed our stop here, there would have been no stopping out, and we would have gotten this swing high also, unless we decided to just settle on that for the day. The swing high was 39.50. So that's 6.5 points available per contract. Six and a half points available per contract. I'm sorry, that's 6.5. Now the NASDAQ pays $20 a point. I thought making the numbers bigger was going to help, but I didn't realize, well, I guess I did realize, but it's only after I release them are they bigger. 6.25. Oh, Jim. Points available per contract. Okay. 4.75, 6.25. Nobody got stopped out, and it only takes 5 points to be done for the day. What about the sell side? I said we'd be a buyer at 33, we'd be a seller at 26. So let's count the money at 26. All right, sell $48.26. Swing low. Did you take this trigger? Nope. Did you take this trigger? Yep. And the low was 48.1250. Okay. So 26 minus, we'll round this low of 1250. Let's just round it up to 13. We'll call this 13 points. 13 points available per contract at $20 per point. Now we actually know it was 13.5. We also know that nobody ever gets out at the exact swing low or the exact swing high. Why? Because we trail our stop. That's how we do business. Okay? All right. Moving right along. Russell. The Russell 2230 right there. Okay. On the Russell last night, we were looking to be buyers at 55, sellers at 50. So we're going to buy 1255. And the swing high was 56.80. Now, was this a trade that you should have taken? If you're comfortable with the $300 to $400 risk factor, the answer is yes. Had you stayed in the trade, because if you accepted the risk, you would not have gotten stopped out. If you had waited to this, you would have risked less and you would have gained more, and it's not done. It's still climbing, okay? In fact, it even came back and gave you another shot with like practically no risk. Swing low here is 54.70. 3 ticks below the trigger. So you get long, you're risking 10 ticks, I don't know, a point, $100. And what's it delivered so far? It's hit 57.90. So that's $290 per contract available. $290 per contract available so far. Okay. Now, as you can see, it's still climbing. So when I do the write-up later tonight, if I get one done, I'll come back and find out what the final tally was, or we'll look at it tomorrow. Okay, I'll put a little arrow there so tomorrow I'm reminded to look beyond this to see how much more was available. Okay. All right, I think we're done. We've covered the S&P, we've covered the Dow, we've covered gold, bonds, crude, soybeans, NASDAQ, Russell, and these are just some other things that I've been toying with. Oh, this wheat chart that I drew the other day, let me show you this. If wheat doesn't do a reversal tomorrow, and I'm still looking for it to, okay? Now, wheat could turn and rally, but on a daily chart, this was done last Friday, okay? I was looking to sell wheat at 384. First target 78, 71, 63, even as low as 341. Okay, it's a substantial move in wheat. But so far, the trade is not triggered. As of tomorrow, I'll probably just write it off. Okay. Now, there's something else I wanted to show you real quick. Oh, see a snip of the US dollar, post a snip of December wheat. I don't need to post a snip of December wheat because let me see if I have. Oh, you can't open. Can't open from there. Let me think how I can do this. either one of those files. I might have to show it to you tomorrow. I'll make a chart tonight. We took a picture the other day. Wait a minute. What's going on? What's happening here? I don't want that. I want my pictures. And I want my charts. Question is I didn't write down what I saved it under. Oh, this is not going to work, is it? Oh, well, maybe. U.S. dollar. I didn't think so. Oh. See, the only one is the US dollar, so that's not it. So I must have used DX. I got nothing. So everything's starting with a D. This would have been All right, I'll have to find it another time. My apologies. And I don't know that it's pertinent. I wanted to see it for myself out of my own curiosity because the other day I saw a really good trade in there. Marvin had typed in fortune.com. Oh, good. You got me a link. Okay, thank you so much. Well, you got me heading in the right direction. Let's see what we come up with. Fortune.com. Obama, $1 billion. U.S. sent another $1.3 billion to Iran after hostages. Oh, no, that's got today's date on it. Ah, now we're cooking. September 7th. That's today, 2016. After the controversial, thank you so much, Marlon. After the controversial first $400 million plane load of cash that the U.S. sent to Iran in January, just as 4 American hostages were released, a plane load of euros, Swiss francs, and other currencies was only the first of 3 American cash deliveries to the country, the Obama administration reportedly told lawmakers this Tuesday. During the 19 days following the first shipment, the U.S. sent 2 more plane loads of cash totaling totaling $1.3 billion to Tehran, according to the Wall Street Journal. The 2 plane load, now again, we're talking about the Wall Street Journal and Fortune, okay? This isn't one of the right-wing conspiracy or left-wing conspiracy websites, although some might say I'm not. Don't be too quick to say that. The two plane loads which passed through Europe on January 22nd and February 5th followed the same routes as the earlier payment. A congressional aide who was briefed told the Journal in the first payment an Iranian cargo plane picked up the money in Geneva. News of the additional payments are sure to generate controversy on Capitol Hill during a bitter election season that comes on the heels of Obama's administration's nuclear deal with Iran. You give them a gun and then you give them money to buy bullets. At the time of the first payment, Donald Trump and other Republicans said the payment amounted to ransom, a charge the Obama administration vehemently denied because, remember, we don't negotiate with terrorists, right? Although it later admitted that it had delayed giving Iran control of the cash until the American hostages had safely departed to Iran. See also, President Obama denies $400 million payment to Iran was a ransom. We do not pay ransom for hostages. We've got a number of Americans being held around the world, and I met with their families, and it's heartbreaking, President Obama said at the time. But those families know that we have a policy that we don't pay ransom. Oh, and have you heard what this guy said to this guy? This is the president of the Philippines. He told this guy to go stuff himself. Now he's backtracked and said, I'm sorry. And this guy has yanked $1 million of foreign aid from this guy. I'd be apologizing too. The Obama administration has maintained that the $400 million was the first part of a $1.7 billion sum it had agreed to pay Iran to resolve a failed decades-old arms deal made with the government of the Shah of Iran. My goodness, do you guys remember the Shah of Iran? That was back in the days of lifestyles of the rich and famous. What was his name? Remember the host of the show? Yeah. He's probably living some sad life now in a one-room walk-up in East LA. The $400 million was for airplane parts which were never delivered, the Journal reports. According to the Obama administration officials, the U.S. government worried that a tribunal set up in The Hague to resolve U.S.-Iran claims would have awarded Iran $4 billion or more, so the U.S. and Iran negotiated a deal that gave Iran the original $400 million plus $1.3 billion in interest. The two more recent payments would complete that initial $1.7 billion agreement. Now, let me ask you a question. If Iran really thought they could get $4 billion, would they settle for $1.7 billion? I don't think so. Congressional Republicans are unconvinced by that explanation, however. On Tuesday, Senator Marco Rubio introduced the No Ransom Payments Act, co-sponsored by 15 other Senate Republican lawmakers. The legislation would bar the U.S. from making future payments and try to reclaim the $1.7 billion already paid. Well, good luck with that, because they got a nuke now. President Obama's disastrous nuclear deal with Iran was sweetened with an illicit ransom payment and billions of dollars for the world's foremost state sponsor of terrorism. Every time this Ayatollah gets up on the stage with the microphone, he talks about the American dog. We're going to destroy you. We're coming to kill you. Oh, well, if you're coming to kill us, you'll probably need a little walking around money, and you might need a nuclear weapon. So here, let me help you destroy America, the country that I'm so proud to be the president of. Rubio said in a statement, the U.S. government should not be in the business of negotiating with terrorists and paying ransom money in exchange for the release of American hostages. Now, I understand if it was your family member that was being held hostage, you would probably be begging them, pay the doggone ransom. But you see, if America is seen as having that chink in their armor, then it'll be no American will ever be safe to walk outside of their own home again, because they'll be kidnapped and held for ransom until the American government pays up. You just can't do that. Doing so puts more Americans in danger. I mean, my heart breaks for the families of people around the world who are being held hostage, but America cannot cave on this one. Man, that's a tough one. It really is. Hey, Marvin, thank you so much for sharing this. This will absolutely go into the show notes tonight, and all of you will have a chance to not only read this article, but you can, follow these backlinks and really get a good hold on the entire thing. Robin Leach, thanks, Jair. That was his name. Okay, let's find out. Let's ask our friend the internet. Where is Robin Leach now? Robin Leach rolls in. Oh, that's 2014. Robin Leach, 72, wobbled up Citizens Kitchen and Bar here, looking neither rich nor famous. Poor guy. Best known for excitedly profiling the mega-rich on the 1980s era television Champagne Wishes and Caviar Dreams, Mr. Leach, on his recent Saturday afternoon, was wearing a beat-up blue baseball cap, and his much parodied British accent was a bit muted. Getting down to the business of lunch, a napkin tucked into the V-neck of his sweater, he wearily wrestled with a Vegas-sized glop of Gruyere floating atop a vat of French onion soup. Oh gosh, that reminds me, I haven't had lunch, and I've got a mentoring session in half an hour. Where was his bubble bath filled with bikini-clad blondes? Drained, it seemed. But no, Mr. Leach, now a multimillionaire himself. Oh, okay, so this isn't such a sad story. He is not one of those fading stars who withdrew to Las Vegas, Charo style, to burn their last few watts. He was simply a little tired that day, and no wonder, 30 years after the groundbreaking debut of his Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, he is still going non-stop, having reinvented himself as a chronicler-in-chief for the Las Vegas Strip. A few years ago, Mr. Leach started to feverishly pump out reports that celebrate Las Vegas as the world's greatest tourist destination, making sure that what happens in Vegas leaves Vegas. He uses television, a Las Vegas Sun column, a blog, YouTube, and Twitter, where he has almost 39,000 followers. It's alive here, he told me, between sips of a Virgin Mary. It's throbbing, and I want to do my part to get the story out. Mr. Leach has been going since 5 a.m. on the Saturday we met, after returning home at nearly midnight the evening before. It was a 2-day sprint that would find him interviewing the food personality Guy Fieri, taping a segment for OKTV, a syndicated program, covering Bubblicious, a charity champagne tasting, and attending all-day rehearsals for the Academy of Country Music Awards at the MGM and Mandalay Bay hotels, among other duties. This was a relatively light weekend, he said dryly. It takes 2 cell phones, a bejeweled Pippo Italia wristwatch, a spreadsheet, and a ruthless sense of efficiency to get it all done. I will meet you at exactly 1 p.m. and you will have me until exactly 2 p.m., he had warned me by telephone. He actually stayed around until 2:03, but only because he spent a few minutes chastising our waiter. Who did your hair? Mr. Leach demanded. One of your co-workers and not a barber? That explains it then. It makes sense that Mr. Leach would become Sin City's version of the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. Could anyone else fully appreciate its overstated opulence and conspicuous consumption? He spent 14 years as host of the Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, which spawned an entire cable genre devoted to real estate porn and celebrity chefs. This is a man who has inspected Larry Flint's gold-plated Kleenex box and interviewed yacht butlers who hand-warmed bed sheets for Saudi princes. Can you imagine having somebody hand-warm your bed sheets? One classic Lifestyles episode featured a 120-foot limousine with a helicopter landing pad and a jacuzzi. He's a kid in a candy store with all this stuff, says John Kalish, a founding Lifestyles producer-director whose responsibilities included... Please stop calling me. Making sure Mr. Leach never appeared in a Speedo without also wearing a shirt. What's interesting is that Robin has endured while a lot of the people he covered have not. How many icons of the 80s still have a shelf life? Personal note, when I was 10 years old and growing up in a decidedly bling-free Montana, I used to program the VCR to record Lifestyles. Yes, I came out of the womb this gay. But Mr. Leach said he did not bivouac in Las Vegas simply because he enjoys expensive cigars, scantily clad women, and geysers of crystal, although he does, as a matter of fact, delight in all of those things. It's the journalist in me, he said. A lot of people only see the garish glitz and the ghastly glamour, all the cliché, hackneyed things. I see the biggest entertainment, dining, and travel stories of our time. And let's be honest, the small pool perks are terrific for this big fish. Nightclub ropes instantly dropped for him. A few days ago, he hobnobbed with George Clooney, who was at the Bellagio to promote his line of high-end tequila, Casamigos. The night, wrote Mr. Leach on his blog, Vegas Deluxe, included more than 50 Las Vegas beauties in plunging necklines and the tightest of miniskirts. 3 days later, Mr. Leach recounted a debauched birthday party that involved Magic Mike actor Alex Pettyfer, whipped cream, and dwarfs. Many of the world's best restaurants now operate outposts in Las Vegas, and Mr. Leach, a diehard foodie who helped introduce the Food Network in 1993, can get a prime table anywhere he wants. The support that Robin has given to the food scene here is immeasurable, said Chef Rick Monson, Moonen, my God, why is it all so hard to read today? Whose restaurants include RM Seafood at Mandalay Bay. Been there, ate that. Mr. Leach still spends a fair amount of time just being Robin Leach. Like all enduring personalities, he is in on his own joke, parodying himself in music videos, balling out of control, and participating in reality shows. On Tuesday, he will appear on Celebrity Wife Swap. I didn't know that was still on. With his longtime friend, Joan Severance, an actress and former Playboy model, as his mate. He said he donates the money he makes from these endeavors to local charities, including Opportunity Village. Now, we've heard about that place from my previous co-host, which helps developmentally disabled people. Good for you, Robin. And Keep Memory Alive, which focuses on brain disease. On Saturday, he'll be the MC of Keep Memory Alive's annual over-the-top fundraiser. Mr. Leach has always struck some people as grossly gushy and too embedded in the scene in which he is covering. And he has experienced professional ups and downs. In 2000, he settled deceptive advertising complaints with attorney generals in 12 states who accused him of making false statements in promoting dream vacations. But to dismiss him would be foolish. Leach, who arrived in New York in '63 and sold shoes for a long time before working at People magazine, CNN, Star, and Entertainment Tonight, helped create the celebrity-obsessed media landscape we now inhabit. And Lifestyles looks like 60 Minutes by today's reality TV standards. Now you have Kim Kardashian having her private area waxed on camera, he said with a shudder. Disgusting. Yeah. What has changed in society since Lifestyles arrived? It was okay to be conspicuously wealthy then. It was okay to aspire to that. Today, our society is so class divided that it would be very different. You could do the show in Russia. How amazing would that be? Or Mumbai. Imagine. I don't think he ain't thinking about it. But leave that assignment to a younger jet set journalist until he plunges into that great jacuzzi in the sky. The Nevada desert will suit him just fine. You'll find this in tonight's show notes. And there's quite a few links in it that you can take a walk on the wild side with. Robin Leach. Wow, man, that takes me back. Caviar Dreams. What was it? Caviar Dreams and some kind of wishes. Anyway, thanks, Jay, for reminding me who that was. That was a great show. All right, guys, I got to go. I got to try to grab a bite to eat and to get busy on my mentoring sessions. I've had a great time today. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Now, this is a short week, so if you're on the trial and you want to become a partner, Michael should have sent you already an email that tells you what it takes to become a partner. Now, once upon a time at CFRN, there was only one choice. But today, there are 4 choices and some variations on those choices. I want to stress to you that the most important thing that you can do if you want to become a professional trader is learn how to trade. Okay? Will you do that for me? If you don't get your education from us, get it from somebody else. If you get it from somebody else, you're going to pay a lot more for it, and you're only going to get about 5 days. We're going to give you 90 days, unlimited one-on-one mentoring. You're going to own the indicator set for life. You're going to get our weekly trading zones every Monday morning. We're going to help you in every way possible for 90 days, and after 90 days, you can remain an active partner. None of the benefits go away, and it's a minimal monthly maintenance fee. to remain active for as long as you want. We got partners that have been active since the first day we made partners a product or an opportunity that you could invest in. And as with all educations, I don't see becoming a partner as an expense, although if you follow my instructions and go to see your CPA, the money that you pay to become a partner will be a tax-deductible expense. But don't take that advice from me because I'm not licensed to give tax advice. Let your attorney tell you, or let your CPA tell you, that because you are setting out to become a professional trader, the money you spend on your education is tax deductible. Now, whatever you do, don't think that just because something costs 10 grand or 7 grand, that it's better than something that costs half that, a fraction of that. Oh, well gosh, they only charge that much. This guy charges this much. His stuff must be really awesome. Or maybe these guys are trying to give people a fair deal and this guy's looking for suckers. I don't know, something to think about. We'd love to have you as a part of our community. That's what we are. We are a community of believers who trade for a living. We would love to welcome you into this community, but that's a decision that you have to make. I do know that the Labor Day special is still in effect, and so if you have not received an email that details everything you get, what the total cost is, how you make your payments, all of that, send an email straight away today to support@cfrn.net. I think Michael has already sent them out, but he sends them out in bulk. And so you know what that means. Some of them go to the spams, or some go to the trash, some go to the promotions folder. Lord knows where they end up. But if you ask him, he will individually send you an email. It's the exact same email, but because he sends it individually directly to you, it will go straight to your inbox, okay? And then you have the rest of today and tomorrow to get signed up, get everything downloaded that you need, and be ready for the partners meeting tomorrow night. If you don't get your education here, get it somewhere, because without an education, you will not survive in these markets. Step back in time to the person who taught you how to drive. How much freedom did that create in your life? If you allow us to teach you how to trade, there'll be that much freedom and more. Thank you so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-host, and guest. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a one-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with the licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.